Have you noticed something strange? Your life isn't actually that chaotic. Your problems aren't always that big. Yet your mind never stops talking. Replaying conversations, imagining worst-case futures, arguing with people who aren't even there, and slowly, quietly, it exhausts you. Most people think peace comes from fixing their thoughts, thinking better, thinking smarter, thinking more. But Stoic philosophy points to a different truth. Peace doesn't arrive when your mind finally figures everything out. It arrives when you stop living inside your head, when you stop identifying with every thought, when you return to what's real, to what's here, to what's within your control. Today, we're going to explore why so much of your suffering is self-generated, and how the moment you step out of your mind, life becomes peaceful again. Not because life gets easier, but because you finally stop fighting reality. Stay with me. 1. Your thoughts are not you. Most people live with an assumption they have never questioned. I am my thoughts. Every idea in their mind feels personal. Every worry feels true. Every inner voice feels authoritative. And because of that, they suffer far more than they need to. Think about this for a moment. If you truly were your thoughts, why do they change so easily? Why are you confident one day and doubtful the next? Why do thoughts appear without permission and vanish without explanation? The Stoics noticed something most people overlook. Thoughts are events, not identities. They arise, they pass, and most of them are reactions, not truths. Yet modern life teaches you to obey them. A thought appears, you're falling behind. Your chest tightens, your mood shifts. Your entire day is now shaped by a sentence that came out of nowhere. Another thought whispers, they don't respect you. Suddenly, you're replaying conversations, imagining confrontations, arguing with people who aren't even present. But here's the crucial insight. The thought didn't hurt you. Your identification with it did. Stoic philosophy teaches that suffering begins when we confuse perception with reality. A thought is a suggestion, not a command. A signal, not a verdict. A whisper, not a law. Yet most people treat every whisper as if it were absolute truth. Your mind speaks constantly. That's its function. But nowhere does it say you must listen. Here's something simple, but profound. If you can notice a thought, you cannot be that thought. There is a distance there, and in that distance, freedom begins. Notice how language traps you. You say, I'm anxious, but anxiety is something happening within you, not something you are. You say, I am angry, but anger is a temporary state, not your identity. The Stoics had a metaphor for this. Thoughts are weather. You are the sky. Thoughts are weather. Emotions are weather. You are the sky. The sky does not panic when clouds appear. It does not chase them away. It allows them to pass. Most people spend their lives trying to fix their thoughts, arguing with them, suppressing them, overanalyzing them. But peace doesn't come from winning debates in your head. Peace comes from stepping back and realizing, I don't have to follow every thought that appears. This is why controlling thoughts rarely works. Resistance gives them energy. Attention gives them weight. Stoicism doesn't teach suppression. It teaches non-identification. You allow the thought to exist, without feeding it, without building a story around it, without turning it into your identity. And when you do that, something shifts. The thoughts lose their grip. Not because they stopped coming, but because you stopped mistaking them for yourself. Here is the realization that changes everything. You don't need a quieter mind to find peace. You need a wiser relationship with your mind. The mind will speak. That's natural, but you decide whether it gets to lead. And the moment you stop saying, this thought is me, and start saying, this thought is happening, you create space. In that space, calm appears. Not forced, not manufactured, but natural. This is the first step out of the inner prison, recognizing that you are not your thoughts. And once you truly see that, you're ready to understand why the mind keeps pulling you back into overthinking, and how fear disguises itself as protection. 2. The mind overthinks to feel safe. There's a reason your mind keeps pulling you back into overthinking. It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to protect you. That's what makes it so convincing. The mind believes that if it can predict everything, analyze every possibility, and rehearse every outcome, you'll be safe. So it runs simulations. What if this goes wrong? What if they judge you? What if you fail? What if you say the wrong thing? From the mind's perspective, this feels responsible, prepared, intelligent. But Stoic philosophy reveals a hard truth. Most overthinking is fear disguised as strategy. The mind is attempting to control a future it cannot touch. And the more uncertain life feels, the louder the mind becomes. This is why overthinking spikes when you care deeply about an outcome. You fear losing control. You attach your identity to results. The mind says, if I think enough, I can prevent pain. But here's the paradox. The more you try to mentally control life, the more anxious you become. Because control was never possible to begin with. The Stoics understood this clearly. They made a sharp distinction between what is within your control and what is not. Your actions, your values, your responses, those are yours. Outcomes, opinions, timing, other people, those are not. Overthinking happens when the mind keeps crossing that boundary. It tries to solve what cannot be solved. It argues with the future, negotiates with the past, rewrites conversations that are already over. And every time it does this, it creates tension. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the mind is operating outside its jurisdiction. Think about how exhausting that is. It's like gripping the steering wheel of a car you're not driving. No matter how tight you hold on, you're not actually in control. So the mind tightens further. More thinking, more analysis, more mental noise. But safety doesn't come from control. It comes from clarity. And clarity begins when you accept this. Uncertainty is not a problem to be solved. It is a condition of being alive. The Stoics didn't aim to eliminate uncertainty. They trained themselves to stand calmly within it. They asked a different question, not what might happen, but what is the right response, no matter what happens. This shift is everything, because when your focus moves from prediction to preparation, the mind begins to relax. You stop chasing imaginary futures. You stop rehearsing disasters. You return to what's real, the present moment. And in the present moment, there is usually far less danger than your thoughts suggest. Right now, as you listen to this, you are breathing, you are safe enough, you are here. Yet the mind keeps pulling you away from this reality into imagined scenarios that demand emotional payment up front. Stoicism teaches restraint here, not repression, but discipline. When a fearful thought appears, you don't argue with it. You don't chase it. You don't obey it. You simply ask, is this within my control right now? If the answer is no, you let it go. Not dramatically, not forcefully, quietly. Because peace is not found in predicting every outcome. Peace is found in knowing that you can meet any outcome with composure. And once the mind realizes it doesn't need to protect you through endless thinking, it begins to soften, which leads to the next realization. Why living inside your thoughts pulls you away from life itself, and how presence restores the peace you've been chasing. 3. Living in your head pulls you away from life. There's a quiet cost to living inside your head that most people never notice. You miss your life, not dramatically, not all at once, but in small, invisible ways. You eat without tasting. You listen without hearing. You walk without arriving. Your body is here, but your attention is somewhere else. Replaying the past, projecting the future, narrating everything in between. Stoic philosophy would say this plainly. Suffering increases the moment you abandon the present, because the present is the only place where life actually happens. Think about how often this occurs. You're having a conversation, but your mind is preparing what you'll say next. You're working, but you're imagining how this might fail. You're resting, but you're mentally reviewing what you should be doing. So even when nothing is wrong, you feel unsettled, not because life is heavy, but because you're never fully in it. The Stoics warned against this long before smartphones and constant stimulation. They understood that the mind, left undisciplined, pulls attention away from reality and replaces it with commentary. And commentary feels productive, but it drains vitality. Here's the hard truth. Most mental suffering is not caused by events. It's caused by distance from the present moment. Distance creates distortion. When you live in your head, everything feels more threatening, more urgent, more overwhelming than it actually is. But when you return to the present, things simplify. Not because problems vanish, but because your energy stops leaking into imagined worlds. Stoicism doesn't ask you to escape thought. It asks you to anchor attention to what you can see, what you can hear, what you can touch, what you are actually doing. This isn't mystical, it's practical, because attention is finite. Where it goes, your life follows. And when your attention is trapped in thought, your life shrinks to the size of your fears. Notice something important. The mind never overthinks about now. It overthinks about what already happened, what might happen, what someone thinks, what you should have done, rarely about what is actually in front of you. So when Stoics say, return to the present, they're not offering comfort, they're offering liberation. Because in the present moment, you can act, you can choose, you can respond with clarity. Outside of it, you can only speculate. And speculation is endless. This is why presence feels peaceful, not because it's pleasant, but because it's real. Reality doesn't argue with you. It doesn't spiral. It doesn't catastrophize. It simply is. And when you meet it fully, without commentary, without resistance, your nervous system begins to settle. Not through effort, but through alignment. Here's a simple Stoic practice. When you notice your mind pulling you away, don't force it back. Just gently name what is happening. I am thinking. I am imagining. I am replaying. Then redirect attention to something concrete. Your breath, the weight of your body, the task in front of you. Not to escape thought, but to rebalance attention. And the more often you do this, the weaker the habit of mental drifting becomes. You don't lose your mind, you regain your life. Because peace was never hidden in better thoughts. It was waiting in your ability to be where you already are. And once you experience that even briefly, you begin to understand the next truth. Why action, not analysis, is what finally frees the mind. 4. Action pulls you out of the mind. There is a mistake many thoughtful people make. They believe peace will come after clarity, after everything makes sense, after the mind finally settles. So they wait. They think more, analyze more, rehearse more. But Stoicism teaches the opposite sequence. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. When you stay in your head too long, the mind feeds on itself. One thought triggers another. One doubt opens 10 more questions, and nothing ever resolves. Why? Because the mind was never designed to solve life on its own. It needs movement, engagement, reality. This is why overthinking feels heavy and stagnant. There is no friction with the real world, only internal loops. The Stoics understood that the fastest way out of mental noise is not to think your way through it, but to act rightly despite it. Not impulsively, not emotionally, deliberately. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, "Why do I feel this way?" ask, "What is the next right action?" Action interrupts rumination. When you act, even in small ways, your attention is pulled back into the present. Your body moves, your senses engage. Your mind has less space to spiral. This is why physical action is so powerful. Walking, cleaning, training. Writing, building something tangible. Not as distractions, but as anchors. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this idea often. Do the work in front of you, fully, without complaint. Not because work solves everything, but because right action grounds the mind. Notice something important. When you are deeply engaged in doing something meaningful, your mind quiets naturally. Not forced silence, earned silence. This is the kind of calm that lasts. Overthinking thrives in passivity. When nothing is demanded of you, the mind invents problems to stay occupied. But when you commit to action, the mind follows the body. This is why waiting to feel ready is a trap. Readiness is a feeling. Action is a decision. Stoicism doesn't ask you to feel confident. It asks you to act with integrity. Confidence comes later. Here's a simple Stoic rule. When the mind is loud, make the action small and clear. Not fix your life, but send one email, take one step, complete one task, speak one honest sentence. Small actions re-establish order. They remind you, I'm not stuck in thought, I can move. And movement dissolves mental excess. Another key insight, action doesn't need to remove fear to be effective. It only needs to proceed despite fear. The Stoics didn't wait for emotional calm. They acted according to principle, and that discipline created calm as a byproduct. So if you feel trapped in your head, don't sit and negotiate with your thoughts. Stand up. Do something intentional. Not to escape your mind, but to rejoin life. Because life is not lived in analysis, it is lived in decisions. And each time you choose action over rumination, you weaken the habit of overthinking, which leads to the next realization. Why the stories you tell about yourself keep the mind noisy, and how letting go of self-narration brings deep peace. 5. The stories you tell yourself. Keep the mind noisy. There is one habit that quietly fuels overthinking more than any other. Self-narration, the constant inner story about who you are, where you stand in life, what everything means about you. Most people don't just experience events. They immediately turn them into stories. A message goes unanswered. The story begins, I'm not important. A mistake happens. The story grows. I always ruin things. Someone disagrees with you. The story hardens. They don't respect me. And suddenly, a simple moment becomes a personal verdict. Stoic philosophy cuts directly through this habit. It teaches that events are neutral, but the stories we attach to them are not. The mind is addicted to interpretation, not because it helps you live better, but because it reinforces identity. The story says, this is who I am. This is my role. This is my problem. And as long as the story continues, the mind stays busy, noisy, restless, never satisfied. Here's the difficult realization. You suffer less from what happens and more from what you keep saying about what happens. The Stoics warned against excessive self-focus for this reason. They knew that the more attention you place on me, the heavier life becomes. Not because self-awareness is bad, but because constant self-reference creates pressure. Every moment becomes a performance. Every outcome becomes a judgment, and peace disappears. Notice how quiet your mind is when you're absorbed in something outside yourself, when you're helping someone, when you're focused on a task, when you're fully present. the story fades, and with it, the noise. Stoicism doesn't ask you to erase your identity. It asks you to loosen your grip on it, to stop narrating every moment, to let experiences be experiences, not symbols of who you are. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself for this reason, not to analyze his personality, but to return to right action, to virtue, to duty, to the moment in front of him. Here's a powerful Stoic shift. Instead of asking, "What does this say about me?" ask, "What is the appropriate response right now?" This single question collapses the story. It pulls you out of self-interpretation and back into reality. Because life does not require commentary to be lived. It requires participation. Another truth most people resist: you don't need to understand yourself completely to live well. The urge to constantly figure yourself out often keeps you trapped in analysis. Stoics lived by principles, not personalities. They asked, "Is this wise? Is this just? Is this necessary?" Not, "How does this define me?" And that difference creates immense relief. Here's a simple practice. When you catch yourself telling a story, pause. Strip it down. What actually happened, without interpretation? Just facts. No meaning, no identity. You'll notice how much lighter things become. Because most suffering lives in the extra layer you add. When that layer falls away, the mind becomes quiet. Not empty, but clear. Not because you forced silence, but because there's nothing left to argue about. This is what Stoics meant by simplicity of mind. Less commentary, less self-drama, more presence. And when the story loosens its grip, you're ready for the next step, letting go of the need to understand everything and allowing life to unfold without constant explanation. 6. Letting go of the need to understand everything. One of the deepest sources of mental exhaustion is this belief. If I can just understand everything, I'll finally feel at peace. So the mind keeps searching. Why did this happen? What did they mean by that? What does this say about my future? What's the lesson I'm supposed to learn? At first, this feels responsible, even intelligent. But Stoic philosophy exposes a quiet trap. The need to understand everything is often a refusal to accept reality. Not everything is meant to be explained. Not everything arrives with clarity. Not every experience comes with a lesson neatly attached. Yet the modern mind insists on answers. And when answers don't come, it creates its own. Speculation, assumptions, stories that sound logical, but steal your peace. The Stoics took a different approach. They didn't demand explanations from life. They demanded character from themselves. They asked, "What is required of me here?" Not, "Why did this happen to me?" This shift is subtle but powerful, because the moment you stop demanding meaning, the mind loosens its grip. Think about how often suffering lingers because something feels unresolved. A relationship that ended without closure, a rejection that never made sense, an outcome that felt unfair. The mind keeps circling the event, hoping understanding will bring relief. But relief doesn't come from answers, it comes from acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean approval, it means you stop arguing with what already is. Stoicism teaches that peace begins when you stop insisting that life explain itself to you. Life is not a courtroom, it doesn't owe you testimony. And the more you try to extract meaning from everything, the more noise you create. Here's the hard truth most people resist. You don't need to understand something to move forward from it. Understanding is optional, peace is not. The Stoics practiced something radical for their time. They allowed uncertainty to exist without trying to conquer it mentally. They trusted this instead. If I respond with wisdom and virtue, the outcome does not define me. This frees enormous mental energy, because now, instead of replaying the past, you focus on how to live now. Instead of decoding other people, you refine your own actions. Instead of chasing explanations, you cultivate steadiness. Here's a Stoic practice worth adopting. When you feel the urge to analyze endlessly, ask yourself one question. Is understanding this necessary for me to act well today? If the answer is no, let it remain unanswered. Not angrily, not dramatically, just unfinished. Unfinished questions lose power when you stop feeding them. And something surprising happens. The mind grows quieter, not because it has everything figured out, but because it no longer needs to. This is maturity. Not knowing everything and being at peace anyway. And once you release the need for explanation, you're ready for the final shift. The moment when the mind steps back and life itself becomes peaceful again. 7. When the mind steps back, peace returns. Naturally, there is a moment, subtle, almost unremarkable, when everything begins to change. Not because your life suddenly improves, not because your problems disappear, but because the mind stops interfering. You don't force it to be quiet. You don't conquer it. You don't fix it. You simply stop living inside it, and in that space, peace returns, not as an achievement, but as a default state. Stoic philosophy was never about chasing calm. It was about removing what disturbs calm, and what disturbs it most is the constant habit of mental resistance, resisting what happened, resisting what is, resisting what might come. When that resistance softens, the mind no longer needs to fight reality, and without a fight, there is no war. Think about how often your thoughts argue with life. This shouldn't have happened. They should have known better. I should be further along by now. Each sentence creates tension, not because it's true, but because it's useless. The Stoics understood that peace appears when you align yourself with reality, instead of demanding reality align with you. This doesn't make you passive. It makes you precise. You stop wasting energy on mental noise and return it to action, character, and presence. Here's the quiet truth most people miss. Peace is not something you add to your life. It's something that emerges when interference stops. When you stop over-explaining, over-analyzing, over-identifying, over-controlling, life feels lighter. Not because it's easier, but because you're no longer carrying what isn't yours. Notice how different it feels to face a challenge without commentary. No story, no prediction, no inner argument, just, this is what's in front of me. This is what I can do. That simplicity is not weakness, it's strength. The Stoics called this inner order, a state where the mind serves life, not replaces it. And once you taste this state, even briefly, you realize something important. You were never broken. You were never behind. You were never missing peace. You were just thinking too much and living too little. Peace returns the moment you step out of your head and back into your life, into your breath, into your body, into your actions. Not tomorrow, not after understanding everything. Now. And when this becomes a practice, not an idea, you reach the final realization. Life doesn't need to be solved to be lived well, and that is where true Stoic peace begins. Return to a quiet life. If there's one thing to remember from this video, it's this. Peace was never missing from your life. You were just buried under too much thinking. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to solve your past. You don't need to predict your future. You only need to stop living inside your head and return to what's real. When you focus on what you can control, your actions, your values, your presence, the mind naturally steps back. And when the mind steps back, life becomes quieter, clearer, more livable. Not because it's perfect, but because you're no longer fighting it. So take this with you. Be where your feet are. Do what is in front of you. Let the rest unfold. If this message resonated with you, Take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more Stoic reflections, and leave a comment with this affirmation. I choose presence over overthinking. Thank you for being here. Live simply. Live clearly.